swam in my first Olympics back when I was 17 years old in 1984 and won a gold medal there. In 1988 in Seoul, Korea, I won 2 medals in relays, a silver and a bronze. And then in 1992, I won another medal in Barcelona, a gold in another relay. And when I went to those 92 Olympics, I'll never forget, I was 25 years old, and everyone there called me Grandma, because you didn't really see athletes coming out of college competing in the Olympic Games. You usually were a teenager or in college. So they called me Grandma there. So after those Olympics, I thought, well, you know, I really need to go out and probably get a job and get a life and get over this Olympic thing. So I moved to New York, and I dabbled a little bit in modeling and got into television, and was really enjoying my time. And I went for 7 years with never touching the water. And about a year before the 2000 Olympics, for some reason, I just kind of got the itch again. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go out to California and start training for another Olympics at the age of 32 and compete in the Olympics at 33. And I made the Olympic team in 2000 in Sydney and kind of won 5 medals there. And it's kind of weird talking about yourself, you know. And I'll never forget being on the awards podium for my last medal. And it was a gold medal in the 400 medley relay, and it was being put around my neck. And the little red light on the camera is on you, and you keep thinking, okay, don't cry, oh, please don't cry. And I'm just like crying. And then I thought, as they were playing the national anthem, like how cool this was. But then I started thinking, God, what am I going to do now in my life? You know, I came back after 7 years off of not swimming, and I now have 9 medals, and, you know, what am I going to do? And so I get off the awards podium, and I walk slowly, wave to the crowd, and go into drug testing. When I got done with drug testing, I come out, and there's no one left. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and there was no one left in the arena. So I'm kind of moping out, just kind of bummed. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy comes and taps me on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, Ms. Torres, you know, I have a camera, and I would like to ask you a couple questions." And I'm like, "Sure." So he turns on his camera, sticks the microphone in my face, and said, "You know, I was just wondering, you know, you didn't swim for 7 years, and you came back at the age of 32 and swam here in the Olympics at 33 and won 5 medals. Are you going to do this again another 8 years at age 41? And I looked at this guy, and I said, "That's the stupidest question I ever heard," and I walked off. And needless to say, I'm still trying to find a guy to apologize, because you know, when you're a teenager and you think your parents are in your 40s, you think, God, that's really old, you know. But I didn't feel old, but I don't know. It just seemed really old. So anyway, I finally got pregnant with my daughter when I was 38 years old, and was really excited about it, and tried for a long time to have a child. And I always thought, though, when I got pregnant, I'm still going to continue to exercise. I love exercising. I love the way it makes me look, the way it makes me feel, kind of relieves stress a little bit. So when I found out I was pregnant, I went to the gym and got on the Stairmaster, started working out, and I was probably about like 6 or 7 weeks along, and I'm going along and working out, and next thing I know, I'm starting to feel a little sick, and I'm like, God, what is this? And is this like morning sickness? And next thing you know, over the side of the Stairmaster, I get a little sick, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not good. And I get down, I clean it up, and I go back to my house and sort of relax. And the next day, I'm feeling pretty good again. I go to the gym, and I get back on that stair climber, and then again, I get sick again. I'm like, geez, you know, everyone's kind of looking at me. This is not great. And so I go back to my house, and I'm like, God, you know, what can I do? Like, what exercise can I do that, you know, is not going to make me get sick? And I thought for a second, and then a light bulb went off. I'm like, wait a minute, I can swim. I go to the pool, the gutter's there, I get sick in the gutter, and I'm done. It's no big deal, you know, and I keep swimming. So I had just moved to this town, Coral Springs, which is south of here. And I didn't really know a lot of pools, and you'd think I know every pool in the country, but I didn't really know a lot of pools in this area. So I asked my partner if there was a pool around. He said, yeah, there's a great Olympic-sized pool here in Coral Springs. And I'm like, yeah, right. You know, when people say Olympic-size, you know, you go to those hotels, it says Olympic-sized pool, and it's like, you know, the size of the stage. And so I didn't really believe him, but I got in my car the next day, and I go to this Coral Springs pool, and I walk in, and sure enough, there's this beautiful 50-meter pool and this 25-yard by 25-meter pool, and there's a diving well and a kid's pool, and I mean, it was just great. It was unbelievable, and this was back in 2005, 2006, and so I thought, wow, this is a great place to swim. And so I go into the office, and obviously I'm not showing you, I'm only, you know, 6, 7 weeks along, and I walk into the office, and there's this elderly woman in there, and I said, excuse me, you know, I'd like to find out about your swim programs. And she looked at me, and she said, well, have you ever swum before? I was like, yeah, you know, I've swum a little bit.